Amid warnings from China, the U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi has concluded her Taiwan visit. The U.S. House Speaker has left Taipei and is now headed to South Korea. Earlier today, Nancy Pelosi addressed a joint news conference with the Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-Wen. Pelosi said she comes in peace for the region, even as China gears up for military drills in the region in retaliation. She added that her trip aimed to show America's commitment to Taiwan. Pelosi met Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-Wen in the presidential palace.
Please rise, ladies and gentlemen.
The president thanked Nancy Pelosi for her unwavering support and awarded her the Order of Propitious Clouds with Special Grand Cordon. Tsai also struck a defiant tone, saying that Russia's invasion of Ukraine has a renewed focus on the security in the Taiwan Strait, but said that Taiwan will not back down.
Among
Speaker Nancy Pelosi reaffirmed America's commitment to Taiwan's democracy and vowed not to abandon the island nation.
Now more than ever, America's solidarity with Taiwan is crucial, and that is the message we are bringing here today. America's determination to preserve democracy here in Taiwan and around the world remains ironclad.
Earlier, Pelosi visited the Taiwanese parliament, where she met Tsai Ing-Wen, the deputy speaker of Taiwan's parliament, and she elaborated on the purpose of her visit.
Our purpose are the three purposes I said, but in doing so, we want to increase interparliamentary cooperation and dialogue. And we do so at a time when our president has put forth an Asian Pacific initiative, which we support, and we want to be specific in terms of how we work with Taiwan in that regard.
Her visit prompted a furious response from China. The Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi vowed to punish those who offend Beijing, calling the visit a complete farce. China considers Taiwan to be a part of its territory and has said it is willing to use force if needed to bring it under its control. Chinese warplanes buzzed at the line dividing the Taiwan Strait before Nancy Pelosi's arrival. The first response was announced swiftly: live-fire military drills in zones encircling Taiwan, at some points within just 20 kilometers of the island's shore. The drills will include long-range live ammunition shooting in the Taiwan Strait, which separates the island from mainland China and straddles vital shipping lanes. Taiwan's defense ministry described the drills as an irrational move to challenge the international order. Beijing also summoned the U.S. ambassador to condemn Nancy Pelosi's trip. China has also rolled out economic sanctions. It announced curbs on the import of fruit and fish from Taiwan while halting shipments of sand to the island. In response to China's military drills, Taiwan's cabinet announced that the island's military has stepped up their alertness level. Russia has also reacted to Nancy Pelosi's visit, saying that it was a clear provocation and risked conflict. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov today said that it was the U.S. desire to show their impunity that prompted such an out-of-the-blue visit.
I daren't judge what drove them, but I have no doubt that this reflects the same line we have been talking about regarding the Ukrainian situation. It's a desire to prove to everyone their impunity and to exercise permissiveness. I do what I want, something like that. I see no other reason to create such an annoyance almost out of the blue, knowing very well what it means for the People's Republic of China.
And for more on these developments, we were earlier joined by Ting Ting Liu. She is the Foreign Affairs and Military Correspondent at TVBS News in Taiwan. Listen in.
We actually have seen that Nancy Pelosi has officially concluded her trip to Taiwan, and her flight just took off at just slightly an hour and a half ago, and she's heading for South Korea now. So we are actually seeing that the Taiwanese people in general, they are very welcoming to Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. But obviously, with her departure now comes the hard question on what's the extent of PLA's military exercise around Taiwan. So as mentioned previously, yes, we are actually seeing that the PLA saying that they will actually hold live fire exercises at 6 areas around Taiwan. And some of the areas that are drawn on the map actually incurred into Taiwan's territorial waters. And this is actually quite concerning because we are seeing that the Defense Ministry has strongly condemned such a military exercise.
And our correspondent Patrick Falk getting us this report from Beijing. Take a look.
Well, a furious response from China was expected. China summoned the U.S. Ambassador Nicholas Burns and lodged stern representations. The Foreign Ministry also issued a statement making this point in particular, that the executive branch of the U.S. government should have taken the responsibility to stop this visit from going ahead, and that China does not accept that this was an unofficial visit and part of long-standing U.S. policy. There was a military response, of course, as well. Moments after Nancy Pelosi touched down in Taipei, the PLA announced that it would be launching long-range live firing drills in waters to the east of Taiwan. Also kicking off on Thursday will be live drills in 6 locations surrounding the island, no doubt aimed at demonstrating China's ability to overwhelm Taiwan. But, you know, the potential damage to relations between China and the U.S. were really in stark contrast to the deepening of ties with Taiwan. And Nancy Pelosi really has had a warm welcome there in her meeting with President Tsai Ing-Wen today. President Tsai talked about her respect and admiration for the U.S. House Speaker for supporting Taiwan's democratic development over the last 2 decades. Nancy Pelosi, for her part, said that her visit demonstrated that the U.S. would not abandon Taiwan in the face of growing aggression from Beijing.
And our correspondent Susan Teherani has been tracking the reactions coming in the United States. She's getting us this report. Take a look.
With Nancy Pelosi meeting with Taiwan's president and other high-ranking officials, many aspects of this trip is under scrutiny. One aspect is the legacy issue, with Nancy Pelosi expected to retire sometime next year as House Speaker. This trip may have a bookend value. For many years and much of her career, Nancy Pelosi has been a staunch critic of the Chinese Communist Party and a supporter of human rights. Back in 1991, as a young senator, she visited Beijing with a group of lawmakers to unfurl a large banner at Tiananmen Square. The banner back then read, "In support of those who lost their lives for democracy." This trip also is a statement for bipartisan support for the people of Taiwan. Earlier in April, 2 lawmakers, 1 Democrat and 1 Republican, paid a surprise visit to Taiwan, with the House Speaker as the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit Taiwan in 25 years. It brings the issue full circle. Now, whether or not the United States would abandon its policy of strategic ambiguity altogether, well, that's another story. Susan Teherani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.